lot of beautiful production going on around you that is very, very distracting.
Yeah, you're not in whatever your comfort zone is. Now, on the flip side, Nova Esports and WEDGM as well both have been doing this all season. They've been playing live in the arena in CRL East as well. So maybe they're used to it to a certain degree. Here we go. And again, Wallace looks way more relaxed than Little Chen.
Yeah, and 2 times in a row now where we've seen Little Chen put in the position to bring things home for his squad based off of his, really more his experience than I would say his win rate at this point.
Yeah, I just don't get it, because AUK is just as experienced. He wins more in the 1v1 set than Little Chen does. I'm very curious to know what's behind this decision for Nova.
Yeah, it's very surprising. I mean, AUK 7-7 on the season in King of the Hill, 2-2 in 1v1. Little Chen 1-2 in King of the Hill, 5-3 in 1v1. But still, I don't think that's a big enough difference in games just in one season to really feel like you want to go or lean away from AUK.
It's kind of a negligible stat difference at this point.
Exactly.
Right? Such a small sample size. And when I look at their career, 51% win rate overall in 1v1 play for Little Chen, AUK at a 60% clip. So that's a significant difference that I would look at way more. But again, we don't know what the conversation is amongst the coaches, who's been prepping what decks, how much AUK was focused on dialing in for 2v2 and Little Chen was focused exclusively on head-to-head play. So a lot of the conversations there we're not privy to.
And looking like Little Chen here, bringing home 100% win rate when he does play Graveyard. I like that these guys are sitting back. As you were saying, we were seeing a lot more of this here at World Finals than we ever saw throughout the entire season of CRL West Fall and Spring. The entire 2020 year, I'd say we saw less than 10 staring contests at the top of matches. We've already seen maybe 5 today.
Oh yeah, it was relatively rare. It did not happen very much. So very curious to see. I mean, maybe it's just the nerves of the big stage, the big moment, not wanting to be the one who makes the mistake to open things up.
So I'm pretty sure we both know what we're seeing here. We got we got the 6 man on one side of it. You got Lava on the other side, and most likely going to be a miner coming in here eventually. Or excuse me, a loon maybe.
Flying Machine does stay on the board just a little bit longer. Cannon Cart breaks down on the left-hand side. Baby Dragon on the right. No significant damage yet. That Baby Dragon should get 2, maybe 3 belches here on the right-hand side before dying. 2 in, 2158 as we go into sudden death.
Good job cycling the 6 man in the back, making sure that those guys are going to be up front to protect all your big damage dealers like this Hunter. There's the miner coming in, going to be caught most likely by that Cannon Cart.
Yeah, Cannon Cart goes to the inside rather than to actually protect the Hunter directly. Works out fine for him, and Wallace now putting together a bit of pressure in that right-hand lane.
Yeah, the difficult part that Little Chen is going to have is dealing with the amount of ground troops on the board. Most likely only has the Barbs as well as the Miner and the Goblin Cage, but you talk about the pressure that can be created with a Cannon Cart behind a 6-man, that becomes very difficult to deal with.
See, the Skeleton Dragons for 4 Elixir doing a good job, though, of helping clean up against those Royal recruits. So now with 1:20 left, 1388, that 1966 on the left-hand side, holding on nicely here for Wallace.
Yeah, the patience that we've been seeing from Wallace today has really been incredible. I mean, he honestly feels like a completely different beast in the playoffs than what he was in the regular season when you talk about head-to-head play.
And Hunter goes to the right here, and I'm curious if that's gonna hurt him in the long run. Trying to cycle back to another Hunter here if he can is Wallace. And there you go, the Hunter now under that Flying Machine, but we might be back to another miner here fairly soon.
Yeah, I mean, Wallace was barely able to get out of that, doing a great job getting all the way back around in his cycle. Like you said, getting that Hunter up high was so very important. Somehow was actually able to do it. It looked like for a moment there, with the arrows coming in on the Skeleton Dragons and kind of missing that Flying Machine, that Wallace might have started to begin a throw, but able to recover pretty quickly.
And Hunter working on that Flying Machine on the left-hand side, Miner to the back with the Lava Hound in front. Balloon now coming on the right-hand side. Freeze is a part of this as well. That freeze could be a game changer. The lead now going to Little Chen, 10 seconds left. Balloon gets picked up by the Goblin Cage High. Freezes in on the bottom right-hand side, but will that freeze be enough? No, it will not. Little Chen takes game number 1.
Tower going down just in time. Little Chen saw his opening and went for it, able to control just enough of pressure on the right-hand side from Wallace and getting in just enough offense from that Lava Hound. I've actually been really surprised with how much Lava Hound we've seen out of the CRL East teams today.
Does the Cinderella story continue, or is that glass slipper lost forever? We'll find out now.
Yeah, Little Chen's experience paying dividends right now. So calm, so composed, never going for the kill until it's already laid out in front of him.
Bar barrel for bar barrel to open things up. First 20 seconds away. And again, you see the offensive win rate, that first move played. Nice and high there for Little Chen. Haven't seen a ton of Ghost today, Andrew.
No, we really haven't. Royal Ghost, really popular for a few weeks there in the West. And honestly, was the biggest thing about the Royal Ghost was the disruption it was causing for the opponent's defense, whether it was being played high at the bridge to catch a bomb tower, a barb hut, or just defensive units. That Royal Ghost rework has been really nice.
Good heal spirit there for the Fisherman. Gonna help with those archers a little bit. Bar barrel there to protect the E-Wiz, and Royal Ghost responds to the miner.
I believe this is a Royal Giant deck from Wallace.
More likely than not, and we've seen a lot of Royal Giant today, Andrew, but not the Royal Giant that's been dominating the meta so much for the last month and a half or so.
Yeah, it's been a little bit. I mean, a lot of things have been a little different today. I mean, that Flying Machine Zappies deck is something that we have seen very little of, period, and not at all in competitive play. And then to see it really working out here in World Finals has been, it's kind of like what it was in 2018 in the sense of the East being a little more off-meta or more innovative than the West.
Well, we'll see if that pays off here. So far, East and West tied in these quarterfinal matches, with Queso going through on one side and Ponos on the other. We'll see whether it's an Eastern or Western team that moves through to the third semifinal slot here over the course of the next 2 games.
Yeah, so far, no upsets on the weekend. All the favored teams have taken home the W, although right now, Pain Gaming looking to change that.
Really patient control out of Little Chen so far, and well dealt with was that first Royal Giant push out of Wallace.
Yeah, and I like that Wallace hasn't been getting, too ahead of himself. He's happy just cycling these units in the back. He's not trying to force a Royal Giant anywhere. And he's okay to take a little bit of damage here and there from those miners, and there's that Royal Giant finally coming down. I was wondering when he was going to pull the trigger on it again.
That's a smart miner you saw Little Chen play there on the left-hand side, looking like he's playing Balloon and knows that he's probably against a Hunter as well as the E-Wiz. Has not taken the bait on that one yet, and instead going for some miner chip consistently. Saw the 2 primary counters to pick up the miner out of cycle, actually all 3 of them. And now again, you see him going for miner chip on the left.
Yep, and he's totally happy just continuing to take that miner chip damage in, because right now Wallace has not been able to really create any offense, so might as well take that lead as best and easily as he can.
And miner distract the Hunter there and not give too much more to that fireball. This might be the first Royal Giant shot, and that's a nice heal spirit for Wallace.
Really nice heal spirit. Everything cleaned off the board for Wallace as well. I mean, for Little Chen, and that heal spirit really pays dividends, getting that tower down to 1,600 HP. Wallace back in the driver's seat.
Yeah, it's gonna be so hard for Little Chen to get past both the E-Wiz and the Hunter in this one. I'm assuming he's running Snowball, which would make it easier in many ways. He has to figure out some way to combo with the Snowball and maybe a miner to predict one of the 2, either the Hunter or the E-Wiz. We'll see.
And what I really like here from Wallace is you see the patience once again. That aggressive knight at the bridge usually will bait out a card from someone who's feeling the pressure. Wallace clearly feeling the pressure, but not making the mistake of biting on that knight up high.
50 seconds left in triple elixir time. Wallace with the lead. Pain Gaming needs this win to stay in this World Final Championship hunt. Royal Giant in. Will the bomb tower get there? It does not. There you go. Bomb tower now in to push the Royal Giant back. Balloon does not get to the left-hand side. 30 seconds left.
And I love the way that Wallace defended that left-hand side. He didn't play anything until the last second fireball comes in late. That way Little Chen has no way of how to break down his defense. You saw Little Chen goes up high with the miner on that last push, but Wallace is playing brilliantly and not predictably, which is really, really important when you go up against balloon decks, just because that snowball can create such a big amount of space.
Miner in on the E-Wiz. Balloon not going to get there in time. Snowball trying to add some more room. Not going to happen. Wallace wins this one by a couple hundred HP. We're going to a best of one to decide who your next semifinalist will be.
And you see that look right down the barrel from Wallace, feeling a massive, massive moment of relief. Great plays. I loved the way he varied his defense. It was so important to his success to change it up every single time, and that's exactly what he did. There was that great moment from Little Chen going high with the balloon, high with the miner to try to catch that hunter. Wallace played his defense different. Once again, gets that fireball in at the last second, then drops the hunter down. Those are the kind of plays you need to make if you want to be world champion.
This is absolutely wild. It felt like Little Chen might steal that one back for just a moment. Wallace holds on, and now we're going down to a best of one between the most experienced and winningest team in the game and the team of 4 rookies, none of whom had contracts in this summertime, and now here they are with a chance to go on to the semis.
Much closer than that right here with this matchup. Little Chen, been in the league forever, incredibly celebrated. How many games does he have? Hundreds in the books. Wallace, the rookie here in this final set.
Yeah, somewhere around 230-something games total in CRL competition for Little Chen. So, yeah, no joke here in terms of the experience level for, let's just call him Chen now, because I think that Little has been, he's earned moving past it at this point.
So Wallace going defensive. You can always just assume that when you see Ice Wizard. It just is a defensive-heavy deck, and Little Chen looking like he's going to be rocking. Okay, all right, Bowler again, looking like Little Chen's going 6-man Loon.
And he has to be, Little Chen has to be happy to see the Bowler come out rather than see it being that graveyard control deck with no way for the balloon to break past.
And the balloon breaking past right now very, very easily. Going to get that King Tower activation in, and then now maybe going on offense is Wallace, but not a great counter push.
There you go with the bar barrel to turn the Bowler back around. Archer's working on the back end. And yeah, I think you saw some trepidation from Little Chen when he saw the Ice Wiz Cyclone, was like, oh no, I'm going to be in cannot break through hell here in just a minute. And instead the Bowler comes out. So we'll see. This will be a very compelling matchup between these two.
Yeah, it really, really will. And also, you know, that bar barrel is such a great counter to the Bowler, something that we saw Expo Master do a lot back in 2018, actually, was completely mitigating a Bowler for a +3 trade every single time that it came down the lane. He'd just respond with that bar barrel.
Valk shreds through the 6-man in the middle. Inferno Dragon not going to get on tower at all, but still the lead as we go into double elixir time, 1576 to 23-13 in that left-hand lane.
Yeah, basically untouched is Little Chen, and he's going to go right back on offense. 5 elixir cycled in the back. Inferno Dragon going to focus on that barb instead, so we're going to need this Ice Wiz plus a NATO to defend.
And take a look at that. The NATO does get forced out. Inferno Dragon still alive. No damage on tower.
Yeah, no damage on tower, and really not a great chance, too. There's the E-Wiz. Now that Fisherman should get pulled, or the Bowler should get pulled in by the Fisherman. Valkyrie working towards the tower. This is going to be a good hit here for Wallace.
Nice King Tower activation for Little Chen, though. That could prove critical in this matchup as time goes on. Lined up the Bowler perfectly with the Fisherman and gets the King's Cannon involved in the game.
Oh, and look at this. Bowler a little bit too far back. Archer's going to connect on, or one Archer plus the Fisherman trying to connect on the tower. A sizzle here on the right-hand side has to be stopped, and now that Inferno Dragon's not there to meet the balloon.
And the NATO out of cycle as well. Can Little Chen get past this E-Wiz? And it does. The Fisherman forcing out the defensive freeze on the opposite side. Right now, Little Chen adding to that lead. Can he close things out here? Sudden death, overtime. Wallace playing from behind.
Wow, that was a incredible sequence put together by Little Chen. Wallace somehow survives by getting in that last second freeze, and now with all this up high, the Electro Wizard right underneath all of those units, it feels like this is a lot of elixir spent by Wallace that he's not getting much out of.
Little Chen couldn't get the Ewiz off the board, though, Andrew. And now look at that. The Archer's focused up high. Freeze in. This could be a massive shift. Barb Barrel, I am befuddled right now, just as much as Little Chen is. Take a look at this. It's about a 400 HP difference as we go into triple elixir. Wallace playing Graveyard.
I don't know how that Electro Wizard stayed on the board, but you're right. That was the reason he was able to survive. A great NATO came in, a great bit of room came in there for Little Chen, but still not able to get that connection there. And now Wallace going to be happy to eat a little bit of damage on this right-hand side to get a big push here on the left. Remember, this is match point, ladies and gentlemen.
It was the Valk protecting the Ewiz. The reset on the Barb Barrel kept the Electro Wizard alive a little bit longer, and now we're in a situation where Little Chen looked like he had this thing firmly in control. Wallace now with 40 seconds and a good chance to steal this one away. Graveyard in. Royal recruits in response out of Little Chen. Freeze trying to stop things.
That was a very aggressive Valkyrie freeze coming out from Wallace, trying to get it in for that Graveyard. I don't know if he overspent there. You see how much elixir's in the hand of Little Chen and how much is on the board. This might be the end for Pain Gaming.
Balloon trying to sneak on through. NATO pulls all that together. Balloon making a beeline for the tower, and Tornado not in cycle.
He's got the freeze.
Played defensively.
He's got the freeze.
Oh
That
my
bomb's not
gosh.
going to go off in time.
Oh my
Pain
gosh.
Gaming. Pain Gaming's going to win.
Oh
Pain Gaming won.
my word! Pain Gaming holds on by a hair and goes through to the semifinals on 22 HP.
Oh my God, Pain Gaming has done it. Wallace, the MVP of the day. I don't care what anyone else does in the next match. Wallace brings it home. 2v2, King of the Hill sweep, 1v1 sweep in the 5th set of the day to take down the former world champions, Nova.
Wow. Just absolute wow. That is such an unbelievable moment. The defensive freeze holds on just enough to pull the rug out from the former world champions, and the Cinderella story continues for Pain Gaming.
What a beautiful, beautiful moment for Pain Gaming. We knew there was going to be one upset today, but it didn't feel like it was going to come in after those first 2 matches were in the book. Wow, Wallace, stellar through 3 sets, doing it all for Pain Gaming. Get this man a medal.